Hi, everybody. My name is Dan Leif. I am co-chair of the board at Portland Insight Meditation Center in Portland, Oregon, and we are so excited this weekend to be hosting a great guest teacher from the Pacific Northwest, Caverly Morgan, and she is here with me, zooming in from Whidbey Island, though she will be in Portland this weekend. And Caverly, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm so just delighted to connect with you today, Dan. Thanks for taking a minute out of your busy day.
Yeah, same to you. And Caverly, for those who don't know her, she is a longtime Dharma practitioner, teacher, and educator. And she founded the Peace in Schools Initiative, as well as a new nonprofit called Realizing Freedom Together, and is also the author of a book, the name of which totally just fell out of my.
Dan, you don't even have to stress. It's so good for me to jump right in and just offer it because it's the title of what I'm doing, the heart of who we are, realizing freedom together. So I'll save you, bro. I got you.
Thank you. There we go. That's that reciprocal nature of Dharma practitioners together. Thank you. And yeah, tell us, Caverly, the heart of who you are and who we are. What is that going to look like as an offering at PIMC this weekend?
Well, I mean, it's going to look like practice, but I specifically wanted to acknowledge today that I love working with the Insight community. Dr. Kristen Neff and I are actually just about to teach at Spirit Rock. And one of the reasons I love this crowd, if you will, is because there's such a ripeness I've found in my own experience around the remembrance of who we truly are, given that one of the gifts of the Insight tradition is that we have so many tools and practices that were offered that support us along a pathway toward liberation. I have found that in that context, there's a special ripeness for let's go straight to the heart of who we are today. Let's yes, learn maybe some new tools and practices, but let's not lose sight of what's there even prior to the tools and practices. And Dan, I say this because I trained in a Zen monastic setting. And I would say one of the biggest shadows of my own training was that I fell for the story that if I just practice a little more, if I practice a little better, if I practice a little harder, which was hard to do. I was already a monk, right? But like it had to do with my intention and clarifying my intention. Then I'll be able to have this experience that I long for. So this sort of progressive kind of I'm going to earn it over time mentality that one of the greatest gifts of my own practice has been seeing the shadow of that, seeing the distortion of that, seeing the ways in which that approach served me until it didn't.
Mm, yeah, that's really beautiful, and actually awakening to the fact that you can awaken right here and right now. And that is such a powerful part of insight practice.
Yes, and Dan, I would even take it a step farther that to remember what's already awake
Mm,
and 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 to let ourselves rest in that. So to take out some of our striving is again in the insight settings in particular, I find that there's often a great sigh of relief with this approach, and it doesn't have to um, diminish any of the incredible contemplative technologies and tools that have supported a different doorway in. I mean, our Peace in Schools curriculum is filled with very specific practices and tools. Um, so both progressive and direct approach, I think, can exist simultaneously in a way that there's complement and not diminishing of one or the other.
mm. And for those of us in Portland, we're going to have an opportunity this weekend to really dive into what that looks like in practice and being with you in person or online. at Portland Insight. And so, Caverly, you'll be leading a half-day retreat at the center in Southeast Portland on Saturday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And folks can register for that online. I'll put the link in the comments area. And also on Sunday morning, our regular 10 a.m. to noon meditation, open meditation session and community coming together. That will be happening as well with Caverly leading us. And Caverly, you again, you live on Whidbey Island, but you spent a good deal of time in Portland and are familiar with PIMC. And I was wondering if you could just, yeah, tell us a little bit more about your time in PDX.
Thank you. As we were chatting about just before we started recording, I feel pretty aware of the Dharma scene at large in Portland, and I appreciate all the different doorways in that are offered in the community. But something that I feel a particular kinship with the Insight community around is that not everyone who practices with me feels called to the form, specifically the formality of some of the Zen centers that I deeply love and respect in Portland. And I have found that when someone needs a little bit less form and also a specific emphasis on community and relational Dharma, as I talk about it in a blog post on my website for anyone interested, the Insight community is an incredibly warm and loving place to land. And so I wanted to give a shout out to what a success the community building has been over time. And I'm committed to supporting the continuation of that community building, specifically during this chapter of the Insight the Insight meditation community's evolution.
Yeah, well, we're so excited to have you and to host you. And you mentioned your website, that's caverlymorgan.org. Can explore a lot more of what Caverly has been talking about here and order that book that she just put out. And again, she'll be at PIMC Saturday 1 to 5 p.m. for a half-day workshop. You need to register for that advance at portlandinsight.org. And then the following day, Sunday morning, 10 a.m. to noon, will be leading us in meditation and Dharma guidance. And so, Caverly, yeah, we can't wait to have you. And thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Dan. And I'm going to bring some books too. So if someone's curious but they want to flip through it first, I'll show up with books in tow.
Love it. We'll be there
Okay, thanks.
ready to buy them and
Yeah.
learn and to connect.
Thank you so much, Dan. I'm looking forward to it.
We are too. Thanks, Caverly, and see everybody this weekend at Portland Insight.